Hey, hi. In this video, I'm going to show you how to enable Datadog monitoring on Azure Kubernetes Service. As you see in this PPT depicts my demo. Here, I have already created an AKS cluster. And in this AKS cluster, I'm going to show you how to enable Datadog monitoring on this cluster. Okay. As you might be knowing that Datadog is a SaaS monitoring capability or SaaS observability capability that SaaS product actually has a capability to monitor the Kubernetes services. It could be the cloud managed Kubernetes is like AKS, EKS, or GKE. It also monitors the other cloud services like virtual machines, storage, networking as well. Okay. In this video, I'm focusing on how to monitor Azure Kubernetes service with using Datadog. Okay. So before you start configuring the Datadog monitoring on your AKS cluster, first prerequisite is you need to have a subscription to datadoghq.com. So as you see here, if you go to the website called app.datadoghq.com, this is basically US East 1 instance of Datadog application. Here you need to create the subscription by clicking on something like new user, try free, something like here. In this option, so here this is the basically subscription form which you need to fill. Here carefully choose the the region. I would recommend you to choose the US, the US 1 East 1. Then give the email address, give your full name, company name, password, and phone number. Click on sign up. Basically it will actually take you to a page where it will ask you to validate your email address. Once the the two-factor authentication is been done by validating the email address, so you will be able to basically you will be redirected to a your subscription of Datadog. Okay, so now I have already created a subscription of Datadog, the instance from for my email ID. Let me log in into that particular. Okay, so if I log into this particular subscription that is belongs to me, so I am logging into this subscription with using my super secret password. Okay, so once you have subscribed, you can use the same password to log into the respective instance of Datadog, something like this. So currently I'm logged in into the datadoghq.com site. Okay, so here it is taking me to the landing page where you can see that my profile. As of now, I have already configured the AKS cluster to this Datadog subscription. Let's I'm going to walk you through those steps very detailed in a couple of minutes. Okay, so here once you have these configurations, what you do is you need to go to the options. If you see here, there are multiple options the Datadog provides you. One includes Watchdog. It has the the service management. Okay, and then it also has the dashboarding capabilities. It has the infrastructure, the visibility capability. Nothing but this is the space where you actually do a lots of the investigation or lots of the activities which will help you to get the insights on these services. Okay, if I click on this one, you see there are so many services like containers. You have the serverless network, you have the network devices. Okay, if I go down, so there are so many services that Datadog currently supports for monitoring purpose. Okay, and there is another option called monitor where you can monitor the the data collected by the Datadog. In the metrics, this is where you can build your own metrics. Here the interesting part is integration, which I'm going to show you right away, and the rest all options are the default options that you can explore here. Okay, so in our case you need to go to the click on agents, because here we are actually configuring the agents on the AKS cluster and enabling the required monitoring on the AKS cluster. So here there are lots of services that this Datadog monitors. It includes the different types of OS, and then you have the serverless Lambda, right? So you have the multi other flavors, and currently we are interested on the Kubernetes. If you click on the Kubernetes, right, so there are two methods that you can use to install the Datadog agents or Datadog configuration on your cluster. That is either by operator or Helm chart. Okay, so in my case I have used operator and it is working fine. So basically, as you see, the step number 1, 2, 3, so you need to follow only 3 steps to enable the the AKS cluster monitoring with the Datadog. Okay, so first one is basically three commands. In that one we are running 2 Helm command and 1 kubectl command, and then you need to enable this the Datadog -agent.yaml file, which is actually updates the agent configurations. Okay, so there is a very important note here, that is to configure the Datadog agent on AKS and OpenShift or TKZ distribution. Please refer this document. So if I open this document, so there is a slight, basically information is being provided. Our flavor is, the Azure Kubernetes services. So click on that. You can go through this particular, the options here. That is, if I go down, so in the Azure Kubernetes services, just go through this one. In our case, it is operator, so we need to actually use this file and try to do a deployment. Okay, so here I'm going to use kubelet, AKS kubelet certification. Okay, so this is what the file we need to use it, after that third step. Okay, so for now what we do is we're going to go jump start with these configurations first. So for that sake, what I did is I have already created commands.ps file. Basically, I'm running all those commands from my PowerShell session. Okay, so for that one, first one is first one, you need to set up the context of your Azure subscription with using the AZCLI command, something like this. If you run this command, as you see here, let me go from top to bottom. So I run this command called AZ login. So it will take us to this particular page where you need to give this particular code, which actually with using these context, basically, you need to, it will elevate you to log into the Azure subscription, and it will land into a particular subscription, which you can show it here. Okay, so in my case, I have only one subscription, so I don't need to set the context. So I'm directly jumping into the next commands. Next command is actually, it is actually get the AKS cluster config informations. So in the Azure Kubernetes services, basically once your cluster has been created, you can actually update your kubeconfig file, nothing but local kubeconfig file. With using that, you can actually interact with the Kubernetes API server, right? Until your API server is public. If your API server is not public, you need to be in a virtual private network to connect to that particular API server. So in my case, my the API server is public, so that's the reason I'm just enabling that is AZ AKS get credentials, basically, and this is my name of my cluster, and this is my resource group. Okay, and that is what I'm running this command here. If I show you the command by selections, let me make it a little bit up, and let's try to increase the font size as well. So here I'm just running a command called this one. That is this command, that is AZ AKS get credentials, name of the cluster and resource group. It actually updates the kubeconfig file. That is what it tells. Yeah, so once the kubeconfig file is been updated, then you are actually basically you have set the required configuration so that you can reach to the Kubernetes API server. So for that sake, I have just run a command called kubectl get nodes, which actually tells me that yes, my kubeconfig file is being updated. I can interact with the Kubernetes API server. Okay, so with that, now let's go to the next command. That is the next command is very simple. So these are the commands provided by Datadog itself. Okay, so for that sake, the first command is I need to basically add a Datadog repository in the Helm repositories. Okay, so for that region, so we just run a command something like this. So currently I'm just selecting the options here. That is Helm repo, add Datadog, and reference to that particular Helm chart is helm.datadoghq.com. Okay, so you need to be pointing to that particular Helm chart URL. Yeah, and then it will tell you that the Datadog Helm repository is being basically updated in your local system. Okay, next command is basically, this is the command where we are actually installing the Datadog operator, okay, with using the Helm command. So that command is also very similar and very simple command. Basically, that is the capability of the Helm chart, right? So basically, Helm is nothing but Kubernetes package manager. You can actually package your complete application as a single deployable unit with a version control, basically, and with a single line command, you can actually in one shot you can deploy the the complete application resources. It includes deployment, services, ingress, then the config, credentials, service account, blah blah things, RBAC, everything can be done in a single shot, and that's what the Helm command does. So here Helm install Datadog operator, so that is being done in this particular command. And the next command is basically it creates a secret in the Kubernetes. So we are using the kubectl command here. So I'm gonna slide down basically. So here we are actually creating the so here actually we are creating the kubectl secret. So the one selection, you can just follow the selection that I am doing here. Yeah, so here actually what we are doing is we are running a command called kubectl create secret generic datadog secret, and this is the API key. Now you might be wondering, where do I get the API key? Okay, so to get the API key, what you do is you're gonna go back to the you need to go back to the basically to your Datadog, right? So we were selected the Kubernetes. In the Kubernetes, you see that there is a select API key. Click on this one basically. So if you have a the API keys, you can select that. If you don't have a API keys, maybe you need to create a API keys. Okay. So there is a button called create new API key. You can create it. I have an API key being created already. So I'm just selecting that. Click use API key. Okay. So once you click on use API key, basically this is how it looks now, and the commands becomes ready to use. Okay. That is what it happened with me as well. So I just copied these three commands and running the commands in my PowerShell session. So here we are running a command called create secret generic datadog secret, and that is actually creating a secret. It has said a message to me saying that the datadog secret is created. Now let's go to the next command, that is actually the configuring the datadog agent. So configuring the datadog agent needs an YAML specification file. So this is our YAML specification file. It contains basically a kind itself here is a datadog agent, and the version is basically the version 2 alpha 1. This is the metadata information. These are all the specs, right? It has a global declaration. It has a features. Yeah. In the credentials, you see that we are actually passing the API keys. Actually, in the kubelet, basically this is basic when you are running since you are configuring the AKS cluster with the Datadog, make sure that you follow these the guidelines being given by the the Datadog documents. Okay, that is what I have did, and these are all the configuration. Basically, this is a very simple Datadog agent.yaml file which we are running in the PowerShell session. No worries, I'm going to share this command.psn file and that YAML file in my in my GitHub repository, and the GitHub repository link is shared in this video's description. You can find it from there. Yeah, so with that option, basically we are done with the the required commands. Then immediately what I did is basically I wanted to check what happened to the pods. In the sense, I was curious because I deployed the the Datadog application on the Kubernetes. Now I need to know the what is happening on those pods. Okay, pods is nothing but it is actually a microservices hosting the microservices application basically. Yeah, so Datadog consider it is an application constructed with little bit of so many microservices. It includes Datadog agent as a one microservices, then the cluster agent is one microservices, operator is one microservices, like that. Yeah. All right. So once I click on kubectl get pods, it gives me this result, that is terminating, container creating. Don't worry that basically creation of the pods when you are running the Datadog commands, it takes some time. Okay. So you need to be patient. So I run the kubectl get pod commands couple of times. And finally, once I click on this one, so if I click on get pods again, you should be able to see that the three microservices of Datadog application is now working fine. That is the Datadog agent, cluster agent, the operator. Okay, so three microservices are now. Yeah, sorry. I mean, if I can tell you, three microservices component. Yeah, three components of Datadog is working fine. Once you see these three parts in a running state, which means that you have done the required job. Okay. So you after that you need to wait for more than 5 minutes, and then go to the UI, that is nothing but Datadog UI. So click on Datadog UI. So once everything is been done, there would be a message popping up saying like, no, hey, you have one host reporting to the data to Datadog. In the sense, it is basically you have one AKS cluster data is now reported to the Datadog, like that. Yeah. So you see that this is my this is my infrastructure. So you can create a dashboard, create a monitor, you can increase the knowledge, right? Invite a teammate. So lots of things you can do it from here. But so in our case, so since this is basically an SRE video, so here I'm going to take you to the SRE, activities more focused. Okay. So now I'm going to help you with the more details that, that you need to be knowing when you use Datadog services. Okay. So here there is an option called infrastructure. In that one, you need to go to the Kubernetes. So this is a place where you actually get a more insight about the Kubernetes monitoring. So when you say Kubernetes monitoring, nothing but Datadog is actually capturing the logs from your AKS cluster, which is a Kubernetes services. And here check the status of all your Kubernetes resources. Okay, so I have one cluster being reported and it has these many objects. So one object, basically Datadog identifies that there is a one cluster. There are 4 namespace in it. There is one node. There are 9 deployments, 18 pods, and 26 containers. Okay, so this is basically at one glimpse. You are actually getting the complete visibility of the the Kubernetes cluster, right? That is AKS. Okay, this is overview. Let's go to the explore. So explore is very fun and it is very detailed one. So here, basically once you click on this one, so there is one tab, nice tab called Kubernetes. So Kubernetes tells you like what are all the objects underneath the Kubernetes are being monitored. So currently we have selected pods. Basically, it actually listing the 18 pods as I said, and you can dig down these, the how does these parts are working. Okay, you see that everything is running. So none of them are actually in the any other state. Basically, running is a expected state basically. Yeah. Likewise, you can explore the clusters. So if I click on a cluster, so it actually detects the cluster, that is AKS demo cluster. It contains 18 pods. Basically, it is about to discover the resources. The version of the AKS cluster is 1.27. Nodes is 1, CPU percentage is this one, memory usage is this one. This is very nice. Okay, so basically at a one glimpse, you can actually have a visibility of your AKS cluster. Okay, so since this is a demo, I'm showing you only one cluster, but at the enterprise grade you might can have a hundreds, thousands of clusters. Okay, all right, now go to the namespace. If you click on namespace, it will show you the namespaces. Click on a nodes, it will get you the nodes actually. Yeah, so that is nothing but I have only one node, so it is actually getting you the nodes. And you can see that the kubelet versions, age, everything can be shown here. And click on the click on workloads, basically in the sense what are all the workloads in the cluster. Okay, it has deployed, basically it has these many deployments, replica sets. So these are all the replica sets. You can also explore the jobs. So jobs belongs to this. There are no jobs. There are cron jobs. There are daemon sets. Okay, you can actually explore these nothing but Kubernetes objects. So we have a daemon sets. Let's see, if we see any daemon sets here. Right, here you go. Right, so we have so many daemon sets. And stateful set. Okay, so stateful set is very unique object in the Kubernetes world. So do we have a stateful set? No, we don't have any stateful set. And here also you can also explore more about the networking of your Kubernetes cluster. Right, you can also see if any ingress is there. So I have not configured any ingress, so there will not be any ingress. And you can also explore the storage of your Kubernetes cluster, that is if it has any persistent values been attached. Right, so I don't have any persistence values attached, so I don't think that it will have the data. And here you go. Right, so there is no data on the storage. On the access part, that is on the access control part, you can also get more details about your cluster. That is, what are all the roles being defined, what are all the role bindings are being defined, what are the cluster roles, cluster binding, and service accounts. Okay, everything can be explored here. Okay, so you can also do more dig down by clicking on this one and go to the further options. Right, you see that there is a YAML file will be automatically created for that particular Kubernetes object. Right, so this is really amazing. If I can scroll it little up. Right, here you go. Right, so it is actually creating the basically it is giving you the more details. Okay, that is nothing but the cluster role binding. Okay, so how does the cluster role binding is been configured? You can get all these details, more details. Okay, so each styles are like dynamic in nature, and you can actually go dig down and try to explore more. Yeah, this is access control. Then you can go to the auto scaling. So do we have the horizontal part auto scaling or VPA beta? So I don't have any HVAs actually, so it is not identified. Okay, so basically this box is actually helping you to discover complete Kubernetes cluster information and giving you the insights. Okay, so here also again you can go down and try to get a more insights. Okay, so this is how basically you can get a more insights about the about your Kubernetes cluster, that is Azure Kubernetes cluster, with using the Datadog. Right now, since we are all SRE in the SRE world, we elevate these observability tools for observing our cluster performance. Now it is time to explore what is the capability that Datadog has, so that it will help us to achieve the SLOs of the the project. Okay, so you might be working as a SRE, you have your own SLOs, that is service level objects per workloads. Okay, right, so here consider AKS Datadog demo is an application and that application has its own SLO, that is service level objects. Let's go and explore the service level object, how we can set a service level object for this particular application. So click on this search button and go to the option called SLO. So you can click on SLO. So here basically Datadog has a very nice feature through which you can actually set up the SLOs and keep a watch on that, in the sense when you have configured the SLOs of your workloads, you can have a visibility on SLO. So how does your SLO is progressing? Okay, so basically SLO stands for, that is service level object. As I said, it is basically a KPI, that is a key performance indicator. Basically it's a measurement talking about how your workload is performing. Okay, so basically it is just a measurement that how your application or workload is performing over a standard period, basically, or over a pre-agreed period. Okay, all right. So now I go to the click on new SLO. So let's explore how we can set the SLOs here. So here there are actually three methods that you can set the SLO. That is, select how to measure your SLOs. Okay, that is nothing but SLIs. Here by count or by monitoring uptime. So basically, generally SLOs are basically measured with using the the availability SLIs. Okay, that is nothing but service level indicators. So here you can choose the monitor uptime. So here you can basically add up to 20 monitors to use the SLO calculations. Yeah, so select, basically we can select the monitors, because before you go to this, before you use the SLOs, you need to have a monitor. Okay, so for that sake, let's go to the monitor, click on the monitor options. In the sense, now this Datadog is actually capturing the data. You need to create a monitor. Okay, so let's create a one monitor about uptime of the cluster. Yeah, so here what I can say is, let's go to the so here configure the metric monitoring here. So here basically we are creating a monitoring, that is threshold alert, change alert, anomaly detection. There are basically choose the detection method, in the sense, do you want to detection method, it would be threshold alert, change alert, anomaly detections. Basically, since we are calculating the SLO, that is service level objectives, we're going to use the threshold alert only. Yeah, so in this one, then define the metrics. So which metrics you want to use? Okay, so let's go to the source first. So these are all the options, basically very very human friendly options here. So we can use the basically you can use these many system loads, basically system node normal. So we can, let's say, for now let's use this one, that is system load 1 from this cluster, average by basically cluster name or host, just cluster name. Yeah, that's all. So let's keep it this, and then average is basically average 15 minutes scheduled. Okay, so this is scheduled every day. So basically this is how you can enable the this is basically, this is to enable the metric monitoring. You need to have a the particular ideas. Okay, so here I'm just directly jumping. This is basically a UI walkthrough to enable you that there is an option here. Okay, so let's keep the evaluation daily at particular, say, like 5 a.m. Yeah, okay, then let's go to the next one, that is conditions. So alert conditions, basically basically above 90 something, 90%. Warning is, say, like at 80%. Yeah, and here you can give the give the monitor name, that is CPU load. Basically you can construct the monitor, in the sense you can dynamically construct the monitoring, basically. Yeah, so once you have this monitors, okay, let me give a dummy name, saying like demo monitor. So I will tell, hi, this is demo monitor. Okay, so this is demo monitor, I'm just gonna tell, and then let's below, basically this is nothing but alert is nothing but a dynamic email kind of thing. Okay, so where you're going to give a template, and in that template the monitor will fill the data dynamically and send a notification. Okay, so let's call it as a Cloudpeak Labs, in the sense this is a demo of Cloudpeak Labs. So we're going to give this information notification, so you can also create a notification to this email, or generally you can select it to all, basically. Yeah, and then the metadata, these are all not required. Define the permissions audit. Okay, so let's keep it default and click on a create. So what I'm doing is I have created one monitor called demo monitor. Now we're going to use this demo monitor to create or to construct our SLO. Okay, that was the aim behind it. Okay, so here our demo monitor is in progress. Okay, so this is basically, it might be the correct monitor, but we have defined it a dummy one. Yeah. All right. So currently you see that the status is nothing. It is currently started to capture. Go to the history status. There is no history and status for this particular monitor. Okay, so once you have a demo monitor or monitor configurations constructed something like this, you can use it to build your own SLOs. Okay, so for that sake, let's go to the the SLOs. Now click on a SLO, and here by monitor uptime. Okay, so here you can now search like demo. So demo monitor, something like this. So or yeah, so basically if you have measure your uptime by using the user monitors. Okay, so the monitor which we have created looks like it is not matching to this particular requirement. We can go by the the byte count actually. So okay, so byte count is define your SLIs, in the sense you need to construct the SLI here. So for that case, let's construct the, basically let's select the basically system uptimes. Yeah, so let's select the cluster one. Basically, let me select the cluster, or say like system CPU, system dot CPU system. Okay, and then here you're gonna choose this cluster, and sum by basically host name or cluster name, generally, or host name. Yeah, let's keep it by cluster name. And the total event, basically system CPU from this cluster, sum by something like cluster. Yeah, so basically good event, total event, you have constructed something like this. Okay, yeah, so then this is basically total event and good event. Okay, so both you need to indicate here. So this is, there is a warning, that's fine. Let's keep it like the evaluate over the 7 days, in the sense when you construct the SLOs, you need to define the particular period of time, in the sense you are actually you are actually observing the key performance indicator of your workload over a period of time, and then you are setting a value, in the sense, for example, say here cluster should be up and running fine across the 7 days, in the sense we expect that cluster to be 99.99, the high availability should be shown. So basically 99.99 availability of a cluster is nothing but an example SLO of the cluster. Okay, like that. Yeah, so here you can actually set like warning is nothing but this is optional, you can keep it default. And here you can say like demo SLO, and say like this is demo SLO. So here you can give the description, you can add the tags, blah blah, right? And here you go, right? So automatically we have constructed this SLO, and currently it is actually there is an SLI bad event, there are no bad event, and basically it actually has so it is actually showing the status as soon as I'm constructing the SLO. The SLO's status is now 100% actually met, and the error budget is basically very less. Okay, that's what it is actually showing. Click on create, which actually creates a basically a SLO for us. There is looks to be a certain issues which we can remove here. So maybe all right, so by as count. All right, so so since we have not selected the right options, it is actually throwing the error. Maybe we need to choose the proper one. Basically, let's say CPU users from this cluster, from demo cluster, and then as count. Okay, and this is total event from CPU guest. Okay, looks like it is actually indicating, so let me create it. All right, so basically this is how we can create SLOs. Currently we need to explore more about this. Okay, you can actually remove these options. Okay, keep it like a CPU guest from the cluster like this. Yeah, and sum by cluster name or cluster nodes, cluster names, hosts, keyboard, something like this. Okay, all right. Okay, so looks like, this is how we're gonna construct the, the SLO for the Datadog. Okay, so currently I have shown you the things need to be shown in this video, that is how to create, the how to enable the Datadog to monitor the AKS cluster, and I have walked you through the the logs that is collected by the Datadog, and then we have seen how to enable the monitor, how to construct the SLOs. Okay, so everything I have shown in this video. Okay, finally, a kind request, please do subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. With that note, thank you, thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.